Greetings, Zombie Slayers, Slippery Jim here. Welcome to my Black Ops Cold War Zombies solo high-round strategy guide for the new map, Firebase Z. And I'm going to be showing you guys, as I always do with these guides, the complete setup all the way from round 1 through to round 30 and beyond to show you how to get the best loadout, the side Easter eggs that are going to help you get set up and get equipment that you're going to need, and also the final setup and where to situate yourself to get through the high rounds as quickly and efficiently as possible. And there's going to be some very basic tips in here, but also some tips that might help you even if you're a more advanced player. Alright, so as far as your starting loadout goes for this map, it is more or less up to you what you want to choose, because really the only weapon essential to getting the high rounds in this one is the wonder weapon, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So you can choose whatever you want. If you want an easy ride with probably the most powerful weapon you could choose is the Gallo with the extra damage barrel attachment. But you could also use something like an LMG with a large magazine for insta-kill rounds. Whatever you want to use, basically, it's not going to matter too much for the final setup in this map. Now, once we spawn in here to the starting area, we do have the good old objective to turn the power on. And you can go through this door here, but you have to buy that for $12.50. However, at the moment, you can actually bypass this completely by doing a little parkour jump over here. So you want to go up to this window here, back against the window, aim slightly to the right where that red light is on that ledge, and then just jump as soon as you get to the edge of the stairs, and then just jump your way up here to the teleporter objective. Now this may get patched in the future because it doesn't seem like it's intended to be able to bypass that first door, to be honest. But if it does get patched, just buy obviously that first door and then work your way up. It won't really take that much longer to get here to the helipad area. Now once we're up here, we can spend those extra points that we got from bypassing that door on doing the trials here. So there is the trial terminal, as you saw, that we bought. And you want to basically keep doing these trials until you level up the reward to all the way to the orange legendary reward. And that's going to give you one more chance to get the wonder weapon quickly in this map. Now you want to keep this gate here closed and this gate here closed. We're only going to be progressing through the left-hand side gate as we move through the map. And this is going to enable us to have more efficient zombie spawns once we get our final setup later on, which we'll talk about later in this guide. So really our focus right now is just doing these trials, leveling them up to legendary, and having that chance of getting, as the legendary award, the wonder weapon for the map. Now it is a fairly low percentage chance to get that wonder weapon from the legendary award. I've probably got it maybe once every 10 rewards, even at legendary. So don't don't expect to get it from doing this, but it is just one more chance you have to get that wonder weapon early. And the earlier you get it, the earlier you get set up, and the faster you'll be able to get through those higher rounds later on. The other way you can get it too is you can get it from the mystery box randomly. It's not super rare to get it out of the mystery box, so you want to try and hit the mystery box every now and then as you're heading through this early setup stage to try and get it that way as well. But there is a third way to get it, which is basically to build it and collect the parts. And I'm going to be showing you that in this guide as well. In case you can't get it the other two ways, that would be a little bit quicker normally. Alright, so we're just going to get through these first few trials here and keep leveling up these trials to the legendary reward. Some of the trials are easier than others as far as leveling things up, especially when you don't have tons of zombies in these early rounds. I particularly like the ones to do with taking damage and recovering. Close quarter kills is a good one, all that stuff. And by the way, there is also the new perk that they've introduced with this map. It's new to Cold War Zombies. We've had it before though, in slightly different form in previous Call of Duty Zombies, and that is Tombstone Soda, which you can buy over the other side of the helipad area here. But you want to be careful if you decide to use that, because if you choose to use the Tombstone to try and revive yourself rather than a self-revive if you have one available, and you don't get back to your body if you spawn across the other side of the map, too far away, then it's going to be game over for you, even if you have a self-revive. So just be aware of that. It's always better to use the self-revive rather than Tombstone. Just use Tombstone as a last resort, basically, if you buy that perk. So we've come back to the courtyard area here, the spawn area, because we've got the rebuild barricades trial here, and there's no barriers to rebuild in the helipad area as far as I know. So I came back here because there's definitely about 4 or 5 windows here you can board up to try to level this one up and get this one done. So yeah, just gonna be here trying to get through these trials, and then we're going to be progressing through the map. So essentially the first few goals in this, after we've leveled the trials up to legendary, we're going to want to turn the power on, of course. Classic zombies objective in almost every single zombies map. So for this particular map, to turn the power on, you actually have to turn on 3 different generators, something we have seen before in previous Call of Duty Zombies maps. It's not too difficult, but we'll be getting to that as our next objective after we have got our reward up to legendary here. And then once we've turned on the power, what we're going to be looking at doing is we're going to be basically pack-punching our starting loadout weapon, and then we're going to be buying the perks that we want. I'm going to be showing you guys a little Easter egg you can use to get a free jug, which is very, very similar to Die Machine. The Easter egg there where you had to shoot the glowing orbs to get free jug. Well, you don't have to shoot glowing orbs in this one. I'll show you what you do have to do shortly. It's pretty simple, pretty easy, and also gives you the same reward box as well. So you can see there, our legendary reward was a Pack-a-Punched RPG. It's pretty cool, I guess, but it's not the wonder weapon that we wanted. So anyway, we're not going to keep doing trials because it just takes too long, but it was worth a shot. We're going to head through this first gate here. Now, we're going to go all the way through to the first ether generator, and this is a little task you have to do to turn on the power. So this first ether generator, or ether reactor if you want to call it that, you have to protect the 3 bowl looking devices, and I guess they're called collection units if I read what's on the screen. Yeah, so you're going to protect these 3 collection units, but essentially it's not very difficult to do that. You want to charge those and fill the charge meter to turn on the ether generator, and you do that by killing zombies, and their souls, or whatever you want to call it, goes into the collection units, and once you've filled up that purple meter, it will turn on the other generator. And yeah, so it's not really that hard. Just be careful you don't get trapped, obviously, and stuff like that. But most of the zombies will be focused on the collection units rather than you. But be careful, because once the charge is full, they will suddenly attack you just before they get killed by that blast of energy, which indicates that the other reactor is online. So there's 3 of these reactors, as I said before, and that was the first one, and we're just going to basically keep heading through the map here. Stamina up there as well. So I usually like to get Quick Revive, Stamina up, and then the free jug as my first 3 perks, because if you do happen to get downed and you're bleeding out, you lose the perks in the order that you buy them. So obviously you want the perks that you don't care as much about to be lost first, and you want to be able to hang on to the more important perks like Stamina up, Jug, obviously, and Quick Revive is pretty important as well. So again, this is the same sort of setup here in the data center location, and you just want to fill up those collection units with the zombies' souls, or energy, or whatever the hell that is. I don't think they've got souls, to be honest. But anyway, we've got Speed Cola as well up here, which is very useful for the wonder weapon. But we'll be getting that later on, and we're just going to be charging up these collection units to turn on the second the generator here in this area. But yeah, most of this map is pretty open, and there's a lot of easy spots to train zombies in. So again, I was wondering if it was going to be a lot more difficult than Die Machine, because that was a pretty easy map, and it's probably not much more difficult than that, to be honest. It's probably about the same level of difficulty, but I would expect Treyarch to put out a more of a challenge map later on at some point, because like they have done in the past, because these first two maps have been pretty easy, and sometimes they like to throw in a harder one later on. Anyway, we're going to keep moving on through here. So this is the spot where we start the side quest to build the wonder weapon, but we'll come back to that later. And you just want to keep on moving through here, through the motor pool area, and eventually you'll get to the military command. And this is where the third and final ether reactor is that you want to charge up and turn on by killing the zombies after you've turned on the switch. And then we will have our power connected, and we'll be able to use things like the arsenal, etc., and buy the perks that require power. So actually this Pack-a-Punch RPG is pretty handy for clearing out the zombies around these things. It's not too bad at all. Alright, that one went pretty quickly. We had a lot of zombies, so it's much quicker. Alright, so that is our power turned on. Now the power actually can get turned off due to an event called the Assault Wave that happens starting about round 13, and later on that gets a little bit more difficult, but we'll talk about that when it happens. You just have to basically protect the other generators in one location. Every assault wave, or one of the generators could potentially get deactivated. Then you just reactivate it again. It's not really that much of a drama. Anyway, we are going to be heading back to spawn, and I'm going to be showing you guys the little side Easter egg that you can do to get free jug and a free weapon and some extra salvage and stuff like that. So just want to be careful here. Kill off the last few zombies in the round. Just make things easier on yourself. You can talk there to Ravenov as well, get some of his dialogue happening, but there's not really anything essential that we need to do for him to get to the high rounds at this point. Okay, that was our last zombie here, so we're going to do the Easter egg. Now, all you need to do is look down this corridor here, and there's a little bunny rabbit teddy bear right there, and you just stare at it, aim down sight at it for a while, and this will happen. So you can see its head turns towards you, and then just keep staring down sights at it, and eventually it will fly towards you like this, like a possessed demonic rabbit. And you'll spawn in the dark ether. I assume that's what this place is. It's like the crazy place. I don't know what this area is, but it's not exactly the dark ether, is it? I mean, there's no floaty jellyfish things here, but anyway, whatever it is, it sort of reminds me a little bit of Nether. Remember that game that was super popular back in the day? But yeah, basically you just have to shoot the teddy bear. That will teleport around a little bit. I think it's 3 times that you have to shoot it, and then what will happen is you'll get that reward box that will spawn in. Just be aware you've got a limited time to go to the reward box, so it's over here, and collect your rewards before you get ejected from whatever the hell this place is. So yeah, I'm deciding to keep the Pack-a-Punch RPG instead of that thing. But yeah, make sure you pick up all your stuff here that you want to keep. Alright, we get teleported back up here to top. So we also have Pack-a-Punch. So Pack-a-Punch gets activated once you turn on those 3 ether generators. You don't have to collect a piece for it or anything like that to build it like you did in the first map, thankfully. I'm not a huge fan of having to piece together the Pack Punch Machine, although I guess it wasn't too much of a drama in the first map. And yeah, now we're just going to be building up a few more points, trying to get perks, pack punching, our gallo and stuff like that. And you also want to start working towards buying your armor and whatnot. So make sure you're collecting all of that salvage when it gets dropped. And eventually we're going to have to start dealing with some mini bosses as well that will start spawning in also. Now, if you've got the points, you can just buy that door that we bypassed at the start there, just to make things easier for yourself. But there's no real reason to open that up unless you're doing some of the other side Easter eggs that aren't super essential for high rounds. And take care of that zombie. I don't think there's too many left here on round 8. So it's at this point as well, if you've got a few points up your sleeve, you might want to consider hitting the mystery box as well to try and get the wonder weapon out of the mystery box. You might get lucky and get it that way, and then you're going to save yourself a little bit of time in the setup. But don't go crazy and spend all your points on that as well, because that could also waste time. It's a bit of a balancing act as far as that goes. Alright, so I've now got the first 3 most important perks, which is pretty awesome. After this, you probably want to get Speed Cola, Deadshot Daiquiri. The reason you want to get that is because you do extra damage to maximum health zombies with that perk. Actually, pretty underrated. And then just whatever other perks you want to get. Elemental Pop, I can take or leave myself. It doesn't seem that effective. But anyway, here in the Weapon Lab, you want to pick up this plan for the Wonder Weapon off the wall. And this is going to be how to get the free Wonder Weapon for Firebase Z. So once you've picked up that plan off the wall, you're going to hear some dialogue about finding a body. And what you want to do is you want to come back to the Scorched Defense area here. Hop over these sandbags towards this burning tank in the corner. And you're going to see this body here of Dimitri Kukle. And basically just follow the prompt and it will do kind of a gory cutscene here. Don't worry, the zombies won't be able to attack you while you're doing this. And a little bit of field surgery there. So we grab his eyeball and we're going to use that to fool the computer into thinking that we are authorized to access it. And for some reason the computer opens a little drawer with a key in it, because, you know, it's completely normal to operate your drawers via computer, apparently. Anyway, we're going to head back over to the same weapon lab here, and then we're going to click on this optometrist looking device, which is going to scan the eyeball and give us access to the computer drawer, which is going to give us the item there, the key. Now this computer here, okay, once you click on this after you've identified yourself, you'll see the little, it looks like a pie chart, and it's going to have a little moving segment that goes around 3 times and stops. So this actually represents a dartboard, believe it or not. And what you want to do, I find the easiest way to remember this is just have a picture of a dartboard on your phone next to you, or on your monitor, if you plan on PC, that you can Alt-Tab over to or have a look at. And just as you're watching that pie chart looking thing move around, when it stops those 3 times, just remember what number on the dartboard that corresponds to. So that's how I do it, and I find that's the easiest way to remember the dartboard numbers. But some people find counting the number of times that it moves, so, you know, 7 to the right, 12 to the left, 3 to the right. Some people might find that method easier. But either way, you want to jot those down so you can remember those, because we're going to need to know the dartboard numbers to get a part for the Wonder Weapon. Hopefully it all makes sense when I take you over to where the dartboard is. But yeah, just try and keep in mind that that little pie chart looking thing, it is actually corresponds to a dartboard, segments on a dartboard. Okay, anyway, so we're going to head over towards the spawn area right now, which is where the dartboard is located. And there is a device you can obtain in this map fairly simply, which allows you to capture a zombie for 3 minutes so that you don't have to train the zombies around or get harassed by zombies while you're doing this next step. I personally didn't think it's necessary to use that to get this Easter egg, this part of the Easter egg for the free wonder weapon done. But I'm just letting you know that there is a device you could use if you're struggling with that. But what I do instead, after I've got those numbers written down, is I just wait to the end of the round. And usually you'll have enough time to do this in between the transition. So here's the dartboard over here. And we're going to shoot the 3 numbers that correspond to where that little pie chart thing stopped each time. So here we have, in this case, it's going to change every game, but we're going to go 2. We're going to go 14. And we're going to go 2 again. And then you have to shoot the bullseye in the middle. And you can see if you've done it successfully, you'll get a part pop out of the middle of the dartboard for the wonder weapon. And that is how you get one of the parts for the wonder weapon in this map. Okay, so this is one of our mini bosses here. This is actually called a mimic, that thing with the tentacles. and it's kind of interesting because it actually can mimic crops around the map. And usually these will be drops, so there could be like salvage sitting there and you go over to collect it and it turns into a mimic or a grenade or something like that. So they're not super difficult to take out, but they can grab you as well and sort of pull you towards themselves and bite you. But they're not too dangerous. But later on there's a couple of other bosses that we'll encounter. But I would say the bosses in this map are actually way easier than in Die Machine. Alright, so obviously we have the Wonder Fizz over here as well, where we can choose some perks without running around the map looking for the perk machines. And you saw me pick up a keycard there as well from Revanov. However, that's actually not necessary for getting the high round, so we won't actually be using that in this playthrough. But it is one of the steps towards the Easter egg. And in fact, it actually is used in obtaining the device I was talking about that lets you capture a zombie and hold it for 3 minutes. If you have any questions, by the way, if I didn't explain the dartboard thing properly to you, please let me know in the comments and I'll try to help you out with any of these steps that you might struggle with or need more of an explanation of. Anyway, at this point, we're just building up some more points because we are going to need a ton of points. We're not only going to be pack punching this starting weapon that we've got, in this case the Gallo, 3 times, which is going to be like 50,000 points by itself, and not even counting the element that we bought to put on it. But we're also going to be triple pack punching the wonder weapon once we get it. Yep, that's right. You can actually pack punch the wonder weapon in this map, which is pretty cool. There's no actual upgrade to the wonder weapon though, like there was in Die Machine, apart from pack-a-punching it. So it's almost like it's a regular weapon. It's pretty much like a version of the ray gun if you like, but we'll talk about that once we get our hands on it in this gameplay.
Extraction is a no-go. Stand by for next window.
Now coming up pretty soon actually, I think in the next round, we're going to have a special event unique to this map, and that is an assault wave. So when that happens, you'll see a little on-screen cue that it's starting, and you'll have 45 seconds to get to one of the other reactor areas. It'll be random every time. So it could be like rocky defense, jungle defense, you know, either of the 3 other reactor locations. And what you'll have to do during that assault wave is you'll have to defend the location against all of these zombies that start pouring out of the map, pouring out of the side of the map. And if you fail to defend it, then they will take out the other reactor and you'll have to basically turn it on again the same way we did at the start if that happens. So it's no big deal if you do fail it, but it's almost like a dog round in that if you successfully defend it, you'll actually get a carpenter to repair your armor as well as max ammo, so it's pretty sweet. But we'll be getting to that when we get to the next round. We'll have the first one of those. And later on at round 30, they do get more difficult because we'll have a big boss spawn in as part of that. But we'll talk about that later when we get to that. Now what we're doing, by the way, we're actually opening these little lockers here in the barracks. So that's what the key is for that we got out of that drawer in the weapons lab. And just randomly, when you open one of these lockers, and there's also lockers over in this barracks over this side, you'll have one of these mimics spawn in, and when you kill this mimic, it has a chance to drop the part for the wonder weapon or another part for the wonder weapon, as you saw there. If that particular mimic doesn't drop it, then just keep opening the lockers in those 2 barracks until you get a mimic that drops it for you. So that is the second part, the wonder weapon, collected. We've got the part out of the dartboard, we got the part out of the from the mimic there, and the third part is going to drop from a boss that we haven't seen yet that's going to start spawning in pretty shortly. Anyway, this is our first assault wave here at round 13. As you can see, we got a timer ticking down to when it starts, and you can actually buy a free napalm strike in this particular location. The 3 different defense locations will have a different item that you can buy. Like it might be an artillery strike, or it could be you know, something like that. But after you get the first free one, you have to buy the rest of them for 8,000 points. So anyway, it's pretty easy to defend this. Just be a little bit on the careful side that you don't get overwhelmed too much. And don't forget as well, I probably should have mentioned at the start, you want to make sure with your loadout that you're using the fully upgraded Ring of Fire as your field upgrade. I think most people know by now that that's pretty much the best field upgrade to use in most circumstances. And just activate that around the area you're supposed to defend, which is this little terminal here, to start with at least. And you should kill a ton of zombies using that. But yeah, it's not that difficult to defend this. Later on though, it does get a little bit harder because of the giant boss that spawns in called Order. But we'll talk about that when we get to that point. And that boss only starts spawning in at round 30. Okay, so now we have 2 parts for the wonder weapon. The third part that we need, as I said, is we can't really do much to get hold of that until we get the next mini boss spawn in, which should be pretty soon. And what we're looking for is like a robot looking mini boss. I don't know if you'd call it a zombie really, because it's kind of mechanical, but it's got a blaster for an arm and stuff like that. So we're going to get a part to drop from that once it starts spawning in. It should be pretty soon, so we'll keep an eye out for that. And meanwhile, we're just getting more points. We need lots and lots of points for all of the pack punching that we're going to be doing here. And you'll notice, by the way, that I bought that cruise missile, and the reason for that is that becomes useful later on from round 30 onwards when we get the assault waves where the big boss spawns in. Okay, I think I got some intel dropping there from a random zombie, which is always good. But yeah, this location here at the helipad is probably the easiest place to hang out and train zombies around in the early setup rounds. And in fact, we're going to be coming back here as well for our final setup. But not to run trains too much. Just trying to get those headshots here with this thing. And it's all about building the points up this stage of the setup. Got an insta-kill, which is always good. I'm still actually leveling up some of these guns. I'm not one of these people that went out and like tried to get the all the guns challenges done ASAP. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. I'll eventually get there. And yeah, there we go. So we're on to round 15. Now, probably around 15, we should start getting some of the other mini-bosses starting to spawn in. And these mini-bosses are called Manglers. And as I said, it's a mini-boss that has like a blaster cannon as one of its arms. And you can actually stagger or almost stun this mini-boss by shooting that blaster arm. And in fact, you need to shoot the arm off to get the part that we need for the wonder weapon. So there it is right there. This is what I'm talking about. So you see the blaster is on well, it's the right arm technically, but as you look at it, it's the arm on the left. And you just want to shoot at that until it drops it, and then we're going to come over and pick that up. So it should be over here somewhere. We can see we picked it up, and it actually drops a magazine for the wonder weapon, which they refer to as power cell. But now that we have that part, we can't actually build the wonder weapon, even though we have all of the parts for it now, until we charge that magazine / power cell. And the place that we do that, again, is back over at the weapons lab, where we got the plan for the wonder weapon to begin with. See the mimic spawning there in front of me. So we're going to head back over there. And I'll show you where you charge this thing as well. So once we're back in the weapons lab, you just head down the end here, and next to this bomb looking thing, you can see the chart. It's like a little iPhone charger almost, old school one. So you stick the magazine in that, and then what you have to do is you have to wait like a full round to pass for it to charge up, and then just head back over there and you'll be able to pick that up. It will be it will have like a yellow outline once it's ready to pick up, and then we'll be able to craft ourselves a free wonder weapon, which is always good. So right now we're just again trying to get through the round and build some points up. And it sounds like we had a mimic spawn in down here, so try and take that out. But they are pretty easy to take out with the Gallo, especially once you've upgraded this a few times and put some elemental ammo on it and stuff like that. Probably the best elemental ammo, by the way, to get is the electric one. If you want it to be effective in taking bosses down. In terms of killing zombies, I would probably recommend the fire one. But trust me, we're mainly going to be using the wonder weapon to kill zombies later on.
Raptor 1 is nearby. Call if needed.
Okay, moving on to round 16 here. So we're going to start to head back and pick up that magazine as soon as that's charged, and we can also get our third armor upgrade here as well and start upgrading the Gallo as well, if you have enough salvage for that. It's not super important to worry about it getting fully maxed out once you get the wonder weapon, but you might as well if you've got the salvage and the points. So I'm going to double pack punch it right here as well. But yeah, even this starting area here in the courtyard is a pretty easy area to train zombies as well. So you can very easily just run them around in the courtyard here. And try and keep yourself out of trouble while you build up more points. If you do get trapped, as you can see, I'm carrying the stun grenades. These are actually very, very useful. If you do get trapped, you can just throw out stun grenades and get yourself out of trouble pretty easily. You might think about swapping out those for monkey bombs later on, because monkey bombs you can use if you need to reset. Say you do get downed and then you get self-revive, you can throw out a monkey bomb while you craft yourself another self-revive at a workbench. And there is a way to upgrade the monkey bombs in this map as well, but I'm not really going to go into detail about that. You just have to kill 50 zombies with the monkey bombs at the ether reactor location, and eventually it will upgrade the monkey bombs to be slightly more powerful.
Stay alive till the next one.
But you're probably not really going to be using monkey bombs to kill zombies too much anyway, but it's still pretty cool, I guess. There's also an Easter egg to get use of these jump pads for free, but it's probably not worth bothering with. I mean, they are convenient, but by the time you get to high rounds, 500 points or whatever it is to use them is really nothing. Anyway, over here, you can see we've got our charged power cell now for the wonder weapon. So we're now going to be able to actually craft that wonder weapon once we get a moment free of zombies attacking us. And yeah, the place that you craft that as well is pretty much where we picked up the plan for the wonder weapon back in that weapons lab. Just where that plan was that we picked up off the wall. Just below that is the crafting bench for the wonder weapon. So I'm just thinking about trying to quickly craft it here, but I do get harassed a little bit by the zombies and decide to be a little bit cautious here and try not to get trapped. So we're going to come back and craft that probably towards the end of the round here. I don't think there's too many zombies left in this round. There might be actually. Let's hit that nuke. That's going to speed things up nicely. And yeah, we're going to craft the wonder weapon here. Okay, now we have the wonder weapon, the Ray K84 as it's called. You'll notice it says press B to toggle fire mode when we pick that up, and we'll talk about what that does in a moment. But essentially, this is a ray gun assault rifle. It's a pretty cool concept, and I guess that's why you can pack-a-punch this just like a regular weapon or the ray gun. And interestingly, if you're wondering, the regular ray gun does not appear to be in this map. At least I don't think anyone's been able to get hold of it so far. So we can't fall back on the awesome power of the ray gun for getting the high rounds in this map, but instead we have this thing, the Ray K84. And as I said before, it does have an alternate fire mode. So when you press B if you're playing on PC, or the corresponding button if you're playing on console, what it does is it actually toggles an underbarrel attachment which fires an orb of energy. And this actually consumes 10 ammo. And what the orb does is it will slow zombies that walk into its area of effect. But also, if you toggle back after firing the orb to the regular fire mode, which is pretty much a fully automatic laser rifle, and then fire into the orb, it actually spins the orb around, damaging zombies, and then blows it up, doing massive damage in the area of effect, which is pretty cool. And we'll be pack-a-punching this in a moment as well. Interestingly, you can't buy the alternate ammo mod in the pack-a-punch machine for the Ray K, but you can pack-a-punch it up to 3 times, which is what you eventually want to do to get to high rounds, because this is going to be our primary weapon for high rounds. And it does remind me a lot, actually, of the wonder weapon from Gorod Crovey, if you guys remember that, the GKZ-45, the Ray Gun Mark III, in the way that it functions, using the primary and secondary fire together for devastating effect on a massive area of effect. But anyway, back to the high round strategy. So from this point on, now that we've got this weapon, we can basically use this to kill the zombies very, very quickly and get through the rounds and build up the points we need to pack punch it 3 times. So essentially this is going to be our strategy to get to high rounds right here. These 2 boxes you can climb on top of here in the helipad area. You can just stand on top of those, shoot the orb, and then switch back to your primary fire and fire into the orb to explode it. And alternate that with activating your ring of fire, especially when you get some of the mini bosses attacking you, like the particularly the manglers, because the tier 3 ring of fire will block the mangler's cannon blasts, so you don't have to worry about getting hit by that. So yeah, essentially when you get overwhelmed here on this box, you can just either train around the yard and come back to it, or you can, if it's safe, run across to the other box, get on top of that, rinse and repeat essentially. And because we've only left the 1 gate open there in the yard, in the helipad area, that's where most of the zombies will be funneled through, just making it that little bit quicker as far as zombie spawns goes. So yeah, let's just continue watch the gameplay here. So as you can see, I'm slowly building up the points, and we're going to get through the next round here at round 19. Now early on, you may start to run out of ammo in this thing and have to buy the ammo. The ammo is very expensive for this, at 10,000 points to refill the ammo, particularly because you're on top of this box here. You do get a lot of ammo that drops from the mini bosses, like the manglers and obviously the mimics. So if you're tending to kill those below the box, make sure you jump down and grab the ammo packs that they drop so you can keep refilling the ammo in this thing. One thing to note when you're switching between the underbarrel orb launcher and the regular fire of the weapon, the Discordian Harmonizer versus the Discordian Disruptor, you do have the ability to do like a reload cancellation if you can time it correctly, and that will actually allow you to switch the fire modes quicker, but it's not really necessary to rely on that. Anyway, we have another assault wave incoming here at round 20. This again is just going to be your regular assault wave with normal zombies and the odd mini boss zombie coming in. So it shouldn't be too difficult again to defend this one. Over at this Rocky Defense location, you can get the free artillery to use on these guys. So I've dropped my cruise missile. I'm going to pick that up again in a second. We're just going to drop the artillery. Just be careful of that because it can do some damage to yourself as well. And you'll notice I'm using the Ring of Fire just to defend that location as well. But especially if you have the Wonder Weapon at this point, it's just going to be super easy to defend this. Pretty much nothing to worry about here. Just be careful not to get trapped and cornered and stuff like that. If you were to get cornered though, I mean, look at my loadout right now. I could either use the cruise missile to get myself out of trouble, or I could use the Ring of Fire combined with the stun grenades. But it's going to be pretty comfortable here to get through this. It's a pretty cool alternative, I guess, as far as the max ammo type round compared to the old dog rounds we used to get. Although it's a little bit more involved than the dog rounds, I guess. The dog rounds tend to go by super quickly, which is why they're so good. But yeah, I guess this is a variation. It's always cool when try something different in each map. That's kind of one of the hallmarks of the early maps that they brought out for zombies, is that they'd always introduce some revolutionary new concept, like when we got perk machines, when we got the Pack-a-Punch. These are all new innovations that they brought in, and I guess this is something else that they've been trying out. Alright, so that's pretty much the assault wave done here on round 21, and we are going to be making our way back to the helipad area using the jump pad here. This is quite a convenient one, Takes us over to the Scorched Defense area, and then we can just run through pretty easily to get back to the helipad area. Now in this particular game, I didn't really upgrade the Gallo too much. I left it pretty much at green quality, but you'll notice I don't really use it hardly at all. It's not necessary. Once you have this wonder weapon, you can just basically spam this and just rinse and repeat, get through the rounds super quick. Unfortunately, there's no really fantastic way to take advantage of the insta-kills like there was in the first map when we had the suck function on the wonder weapon in that map. But I guess if you had an LMG or something like that, you could whip that out. But to be honest, it's probably just quicker to keep doing the same thing with the wonder weapon to kill zombies super quickly. That's pretty much the end of round 21. And at this stage, I think I have enough points now to pack-a-punch the wonder weapon a second time. That's what we're going to do. And then we just need to save up another 30k to get the final tier 3 pack-a-punch. So expensive. We've got an insta-kill right there right at the end of that round. And we're going to head back to the helipad area again. So yeah, guys, let's just watch this a little bit further, and then when we get to round 30, we're going to encounter the big boss that we have to fight at the next at the assault wave for round 30. And after round 30, around about every 10 waves or 10 rounds, you're going to get an assault wave where you have to fight all the zombies and that big boss. But until then, we're going to try and get through these rounds as quickly as we can here in the helipad area. But yeah, it's a pretty cool wonder weapon. I really like the design of it. It looks pretty awesome, actually. It doesn't look very similar to the ray gun, to be honest, but obviously it's meant to be a variant of it based on the name. And I guess the sound that it makes is sort of similar to what you'd expect from an assault rifle ray gun. What would this be? This would be like the Mark IV ray gun. I think we've had a Mark II and a Mark III in previous Call of Duties. This would be like the Mark IV. Although technically it's not called that. I guess it's called the Ray K84. But not the Mark IV. Maybe we'll get the Mark IV later in another DLC. But yeah, let me know, guys, what you think of this wonder weapon. I think it's pretty good myself. When I first played this map, I don't know if you guys saw my first ever attempt at this map, I didn't realize it had a secondary fire ability. Because it doesn't actually tell you anywhere on the screen, except when you pick the weapon up the first time. It's on the screen for like 5 seconds. So, yeah, I had no idea it had a secondary function until I came back and played the map a bit more. Alright, getting near the end around 23 here. Now, I will mention another place you can set up to get through the high rounds, probably even a little bit quicker than this location once you have your upgraded Ray K. And that's actually in the weapons lab. There's a location there that you can also basically spam this wonder weapon to kill all the zombies. That one is a little bit more dangerous though, a bit more advanced if you like, so I think this strategy is probably the better one for your average player. But if you do want a slightly faster strategy, what you can do with that one is if you keep the door closest to where the plan is for the Ray K84 that we collected early on in this gameplay, if you keep the door shut on that side of the room, all the zombies will come through from the bottom area of the weapons lab, which is towards where you charge the power pack for the wonder weapon early on. And if you stand next to the window and keep that on your left and just basically shoot all the zombies coming through that door in front of you, that strategy is probably a little bit quicker than this one actually, because they're all funneling through that one area and the window, and you can actually activate your ring of fire so that it takes out all the zombies that are trying to spawn from the window on your left. Hopefully that description makes sense. I'm not going to demonstrate that one for you though, because I think this strategy is probably a better one for most players to use to get to higher rounds. Anyway, getting back to the gameplay here, just hoovering up all that delicious salvage, and you'll find you get tons of salvage using this strategy, provided you don't get down too many times and have to buy back the self-revive kit. But I am having to buy a little bit of ammo here, but that's okay. We don't really have a lot to spend the points on right now, and as luck would have it, I actually got a max ammo straight away after buying ammo, 10,000 points. You gotta love how this works out sometimes. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna keep on doing this strategy here and just burn through the next 5 rounds, and then we'll get to the next assault wave. So one other thing that I didn't mention is you will start getting Hellhounds spawning in. They're like a Hellhound variant. They're a little bit different to the traditional Hellhounds, but they'll spawn in and they'll they'll jump on you and explode. So you gotta watch out for that. But they're not super dangerous. But they are definitely thrown in the mix with all the other zombies and boss variants, if you like, mini boss variants. I'm not sure even some of these enemies can be classified as zombies technically, like the Mangler, more of a robot. But yeah, I guess they like throwing in the mini bosses these days in the zombies maps. I've never been a huge fan of the mini bosses, but I sort of don't mind the boss fights. The main Easter egg boss fights, they're kind of fun. So you can see how quickly you get through the rounds doing this. It's pretty crazy actually. Even in the higher rounds, it's not too bad at all. And you get so many mini bosses that drop ammo in the higher rounds that eventually you'll have no troubles with ammo. But for the time being, we are getting a little bit low on ammo every now and then here in these earlier rounds. Obviously too, as I've mentioned in the guide that I did for the first map in Die Machine, you'll notice here in Cold War Zombies that around 45-ish, the zombies reach their maximum speed, so almost all of them will be super fast sprinters by that stage. But fortunately this orb effect does slow down the zombies quite a lot, and if you're on top of these boxes here, it does make it a lot safer than if you're trying to run trains around here. And pretty much out of ammo here in the wonder weapon, so I'm gonna have to do something about that. I was thinking about buying ammo again, but I'm getting a little bit low on points, so let's try and take out a bunch of them with the Ring of Fire and the Gallo combo. Gallo is super powerful, obviously, especially in the Ring of Fire with that damage buff. Got another Mangler back there as well. Because it's only wave or round 26, you can easily kill the zombies with a couple of C4s as well to take out the horde. Right, think we've still got the Mangler left alive here, but I do have enough points now to go through and upgrade the Reiki to its tier 3 Pack-a-Punch level. So pretty much that's the final setup. We've got all the perks in the game. All 7, which is pretty awesome. We've got tier 3 armor. We've got Pack-a-Punched Reiki maxed out. Yeah, that's pretty much all you need to get to the high rounds here. I'm keeping that cruise missile ready for the next assault wave as well. And we've made it back to the helipad for round 27 here. One thing you have to watch out for with these boxes when you're trying to climb up on top of them, there's only certain sides that will allow you to mantle up on top, so just be careful of that. You don't want to get stuck trying to jump up a side that won't let you climb. But we've got so many fallbacks here in Cold War Zombies. Like if you did get trapped, as I said before, you could just hit the cruise missile to be instantly safe. Use, a monkey bomb if you had them, or the stun grenades, ring of fire. And even if you do get downed, you've got 2 fallbacks here of the self-revive, which you can just buy an unlimited number of, provided you have enough of the high-grade salvage. And you've also got Tombstone, so, they've just made it so easy for us in Cold War Zombies to get to high rounds. It's pretty cool, though, that they did have an achievement to get to round 100. But you know what kind of annoys me is they've still got that very elemental glitch where once you get to a certain round, I think it's 256 or something like that, it resets back to round 0. Like, it would be so easy for them to fix that glitch, and it's very strange that they don't, because they know that people are going to get to those high rounds. It's pretty much guaranteed that people are going to get to much higher rounds than 255 or whatever it is. I just don't understand why Treyarch don't think of that sort of thing and fix it. Maybe they will going forwards, but from past experience, they usually don't bother fixing those round counter bugs. Anyway, I'm very interested to see what they come up with in future maps. It should be pretty interesting. They've done a pretty good job so far on these first 2 maps. One thing that I find hard to sort of get used to when using this wonder weapon is the red screen effect you get from the color of that orb once it's pack-a-punched. It's hard to tell when you're actually taking damage, because the whole screen is red when you're using that. So it's like, okay, is the screen red because I'm taking damage from something, or is it red just because of the orbs? I kind of wish that they'd made it some other color, like green or something. But I guess that's where you gotta keep a close eye on your health and your armor levels and stuff like that. So you can see I'm out of ammo here in the Ray case, so I'm just having to run the zombies around a little bit here. Picked up some ammo there though, which was nice. And should be able to get some more ammo off the Mangler over here. And there might be 1 or 2 mimics back there in the water zombies as well. Yeah, it's really weird. Like, the last map had the truck you could get up on the back of to do this sort of thing, exactly the same sort of strategy. And this one, it's almost like they deliberately put these boxes in here so people could do the same thing. Like, there's an ammo box conveniently right below one of the boxes. There's the crafting table not far away across the other side of the helipad. It's like they've deliberately set up this area for people to come up with these fairly simple strategies to get through the rounds. Okay, so there we go. We're heading into round 29. And following this round, we are going to have our first Big boss assault wave. Should be pretty cool. So we're just gonna rinse and repeat exactly the same strategy here. I don't know why, but I feel a little bit more comfortable on this box right here. But the other box is actually closer to where most of the spawns come from. So you're probably better off situating yourself on the other box. But you can alternate between these two. I was using the wrong fire mode there. This was a pretty early game for me playing this map. This was like my 5th game. But it does the job as far as demonstrating, I guess, the high round strategy. But it's definitely not the smoothest gameplay that you're watching here in terms of using this weapon in an efficient manner. Got the mangler down there. I'm going to use the Ring of Fire here. That's pretty much takes him out instantly. We should get through this round pretty quick here. Alright, so now we have our assault wave incoming. So we've got to get over to the location where this one's going to happen, which is all the way on the other side. Actually, instead of going this way and taking the jump pad, I could have just gone left through the sky bridge area, but never mind. They give you a fair bit of time to get over there. 45 seconds from when the siren starts. So, it's all good. And we're heading over here, so we've got to defend the console over here. And this one is the cruise missile one. But in this one, we're actually going to get, as well as the regular zombies and mini-bosses like the manglers and whatnot, as you can see, we're actually getting spawned in here a big boss with a health bar. Order is its name. And one of the better ways to take out Order is using the cruise missile, or you can also use the chopper gunner. And the weak spot on this giant boss is its glowing eye that it uses to, like, sort of like a flamethrower, if you like. It's got this crazy powerful energy beam that it does. So you can see how much damage that cruise missile did, but you just have to make sure you hit it close as possible to that eye to do the most damage. That one didn't seem to do much damage at all, to be honest. But if you actually use your Ray K and shoot it in the eye, you can usually take it out fairly quickly, but you just have to be careful, obviously, to deal with the rest of the zombies as well. And this is where probably a monkey bomb would be really helpful as well, to distract the zombies while you're trying to take down Order. Just clearing out the zombies around the console there. And here's where we're just about to shoot Order in that eye hole. There it is right there. You can see we're doing critical damage, and that's it. We've taken it out and got our free max ammo and carpenter. So yeah, that is the assault wave from round 30 onwards, featuring Order, that giant boss. And about every 10 waves, you'll get another assault wave similar to that one. Fortunately, Order's health does not increase based on how high the round is. It pretty much stays the same. Okay, so from this point on, I'm just going to be heading back to the helipad area and then continuing on killing the zombies with the Ray K. And that's pretty much all there is to the high round strategy here, playing solo on Firebase Z, guys. And it's pretty much the same thing. And you just keep going to whatever round you want to get to, essentially. It's really not the most challenging of maps, to be honest. And you should be able to get some pretty awesome high rounds on this one. So that's where I'm going to leave this guide for now, guys. I hope you enjoyed this solo high round strategy guide. And let me know if you have any questions in the comments section below. I'll catch up with you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Slippy Jim out.